Hey guys, back with another classical game. I'm going to open with knight f3 against moslem1751. He's got the scary question mark. This is always sketchy. New account, never played any blitz, never played any bullet. 2031 classical. So we're going to see how this goes. I actually I'm going to play g3. I actually have since my second game that I posted recorded two other videos. The most recent one was totally fine, except for my mic was on mute, so that was sweet. I just recently bought this mic, and real talk, I don't really know how to use it that well. And there's like a mute button on the front, but it's like when you press it, it's not a button. So hold on, I'm just gonna go d4 here and go into, or you know what, I'll castle first. Yeah, I'll castle first. Anyway, there's a mute button on the front, but it's not a button. It's like a capacitive touch button, like the new Chronos chess clocks, or like some lamps where you just touch it and it dims or whatever. And so I didn't know I muted it at the time. That's kind of a stupid feature, like the capacitive mute button. You touch your mic by accident, and then. So yeah, I recorded. Luckily, it was a short game. It didn't take me like an hour. The guy resigned on like move 14, so it wouldn't have been an amazingly interesting recording anyway, most likely. But yeah, still disappointing nonetheless. And then the second game, which was in chronological order, played earlier. Some of the mod tools on Lichess popped up. Yeah, I forgot that when you go to the analysis board, sometimes the moderator tools will show up, and I don't really want to disclose those until I get permission. So that game might never show up, but if it does, you'll be able to take a look at the mod tools. Okay, I'm just checking all my stream settings here and stuff, making sure my mic is not on mute again. There are a couple options here. Knight c3 is possible. That does give black the option of just snapping on c4, which I'm kind of lame. I don't like to give him that option. One line I really like against bishop d6 that maybe is slightly less good here is knight f to d2. The point is that in these structures, white really wants to get an e4. So knight f d2, knight c3, essentially e4 is completely unstoppable at that point, and it also guards against d takes c4. That's an option. Queen c2 here is pretty natural. I wonder if b3 is playable. Probably. I think I'm just going to go queen c2, and it's kind of the usual move. And if knight b to d7, okay, h6. A lot of h-pawn moves lately that I don't feel are really all that necessary. I think I'm just going to go knight b to d2. So again, I'm just going to play for e4, and this structure after d takes e4, knight takes e4 will always be slightly favorable for black. So now in this case, yeah, I just don't really see any reason to not play this. And I'll pre-move knight takes e4. So he can take a bunch of times, play knight f6, hit my queen. I'll play queen e2 most likely. And I'll be looking to follow up with just very simple development. Queen back to e2, probably these rooks to the center, and I have these pawns versus these pawns. I'll be angling for d5. Okay, so he doesn't even want to... He wants me to push e5, which seems like objectively it should be very pleasant for me. Doesn't seem like that's really all that good for black, honestly. So the question is, do I want to go c5? Do I want to go e5? Or I could even just maintain the tension everywhere with b3 also. That seems like a very logical move as well. I kind of like the look of b3. I like the structure after d takes e4. I'm a little bit less familiar with something like, let's say... See, I don't even want to play c takes d5 because he can go e takes d5 and then unlock this bishop. So it's really, do I go e5 right away, c5 right away, or b3? I kind of just like b3. again, I think like this structure after d takes e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4 has to just be better for white. Black has less space. He's got this really awful bishop on c8. So he's going to go there. I think I'm going to take with the b pawn. His knight is, I think, awkward on this square, and I don't really want to trade my knight for it. He has less space, and if he plays c5, I'll play d5, and he'll have even less space. And so I don't necessarily feel like trading all that many pieces with him. Okay, this is begging for c5 now. c5, he moves the knight back to d7, presumably. I go knight c4, and bishop f4 is going to be really irritating. The only question is, like, if e5 is better. But c5 looks really natural to me. It also precludes him from playing c5, which is something he probably wants to do at some point. This looks pretty strong. The only question is if there's something better. Like, is a4 better? Probably not. Is e5 better? Maybe. e4, kick the knight, knight e4 is possible as well. I'm going to go c5. I think this is interesting, kind of non-standard. We'll give it a whirl, and then I'm going to follow up with knight c4. So just looking to add as much juice to this weak d6 square as is humanly possible. And it's not even inconceivable that I play e5 and then knight d6 either. But for the moment, I like the threat of bishop d6. Again, this is his good bishop, and this square is really weak, and it's a dark square, so I would be greatly facilitated by trading the dark squared bishops. Doesn't this just lose a bunch of material because his queen is pseudo-trapped after bishop f4 now? So after bishop f4, he has to play e5, but this just looks like an absolute blowout. I mean, I can almost... Bishop f4 just has to be almost game over. The only question is, what am I doing after e5? How am I capturing on e5 after he plays e5? This might just be resignable already, honestly. Yep, that's forced. D takes e5, knight h5, I think. So e6, knight f4, e takes d7. I mean, I guess that actually wins a piece, right? D takes e5, knight h5, e6, knight f4. Takes, even. Yeah, I mean, that seems playable as well. It's perhaps a little bit more forcing. But knight f5 knight f takes e5 keeps all my bidness in the center here intact. I like the look of that aesthetically. If knight takes, presumably, giving himself d7 for the queen. I can take with the bishop. He goes queen d7. I can go knight d6 or bishop d6. That seems kind of good. But do I really want to pass up just the clean win of a piece, essentially? The only question is, d takes e5, knight h5, e6, knight takes f4, e takes d7, bishop takes d7, g takes f4, queen takes f4, like what that position looks like. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just winning a piece. I'm just going to take the piece. I don't see why I shouldn't take the piece. I shouldn't overthink it. Knight e5 is probably also overwhelming, but I'm just going to take the piece. Yeah, and e6. Discovered attack. Hitting all of the things. He's pretty much forced to go here. I take here with tempo. That's not a threat. This is a threat. You can take on g2. I'll take on c8. When he takes back on c8, I'll play king takes g2. That's probably quite a bit worse than just taking like bishop d7. Yeah. So I'll grab his piece, and c5 is hanging. I'm not sure how much I really care. Maybe bishop g4 is sort of pseudo in the air. Bishop g4 I can meet by knight c to e5, or even knight f to e5. So that looks fine. I almost want to go rook a to b1, not only because it hits the b7 pawn, he certainly doesn't want to lose this, but also because I can go rook b3 and defend the king side laterally. I do have some problems with my king. Practically, you know, he's got the two bishops. It's kind of annoying, but I'm up a piece. Let's talk real here. Is there anything better? I can try and give him the boot from the king side too, like with queen c1 or something, but or I can go knight a5, knight e3 perhaps. Just knight e3 is interesting. Stopping bishop g4, perhaps looking to go knight f5 and also just protecting the c-pawn. Somehow I feel like I don't really care that much. If I play rook a to b1, bishop takes c5, rook b7, I feel like that's probably a positive trade for me. So I'll flick in rook a to b1 first and perhaps force rook a to b8, and then I'll think about my next move. I'm not totally sure how I want to try and consolidate this. Like after rook a to b8. I'll probably defend the c-pawn then. Yeah, so rook a to b8. And then what? Knight a5, I'm worried that my knight will just be a little bit out of place. I mean, he can almost knight a5, bishop c8, and just declare that this piece is not very good here anymore. Knight e3, sort of calling my name. Protecting the c-pawn. Is this better? Just threatening to lop off some more material. Knight c to e5, bishop e6, presumably. I don't know where that piece is going after e5. Don't really know where it's going after knight e3 either. The thing I like about knight e3 is that I'm sort of looking to go knight d4 and then knight into f5. Yeah, I'll give this a whirl. Is there any real problem with this move? I don't think so. Maybe I'll go rook fd1 next. I'm hopelessly addicted to diet soda. It's bad. Random thought of the game. That's something I need to kick pretty bad. I don't know if I already said this, but I hope you guys have had a good Valentine's Day so far, and that work isn't going to suck too bad tomorrow. I'm starting to forget what I said because I've streamed 3 games today and I haven't posted any of them because of mic issues and all kinds of other crap. So okay, so bishop e6. I think this is a very natural move. Doesn't really contain a threat. I kind of just want to play rook fd1. Start chopping some wood off. I would like to go knight d4. Harass that bishop. So he takes. Which way do I take back? Maybe this way. Sure, we'll go with that. In my third game that I didn't post yet because of administrative issues, I got into really severe time trouble again. So I'm trying to, and already I'm down to 5 minutes, and probably I'll end up in time trouble again. That's something I really need to work on. Of course, doing commentary and playing is slightly harder than just playing, and that definitely leads to some of it, but some of it is not at all to be blamed on recording. It's because I just sometimes I take too long on stupid decisions, and sometimes I double and triple check things sort of unnecessarily, and yeah, so that's something I definitely need to work on. We're going to go knight d4, yeah. My knights at the moment are not really much worse than his bishops. Of course, I'm up a piece still, and these guys are really well centralized. If he moves the bishop off this diagonal, I can maybe go back into b3. Start looking at this loose pawn again. Maybe I want to put my queen on the d file. It's open and comfortable. Oh, that is a thing. Son of a bee sting. Didn't even think about that. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I can even, for instance, yeah, I can't. Okay, I can't play h3, but I could, for instance, just play knight takes e6, and if queen takes h2, just king f1, and this bishop is holding it down. I think I might even do that. I mean, after that, like king f1 check, f takes e6, I actually have queen b3, and I'm hitting this and this. And something like knight f3 is possible. Like knight f3 is possible. I could just go back, but I don't want to go back. In chess, you have to impose your will on your opponent and make him react to your stuff. All right, I'm going to do this, and if I lose this game, we'll know that this was a stupid idea. And of course, if he just plays f takes e6, I'll probably just, yeah. Only an idiot would do that, but I would play h3 and just save the pawn. So the only thing I really have to worry about is his h-pawn, I guess. Queen b3. Calling my name. Is there anything better? I mean, he doesn't really have any threats. Yeah, I'm going to do this. The one-move double attack, my specialty. He's coming back. It's a good move. Because he's looking down here. What do I do? Bishop h3, maybe? One thing I have to be careful about is to not run out of pawns. I like bishop h3 just because it gives me the g2 square for my king. I feel like I would rather have my king on g2 than floating around over here. And of course, this threat is not insignificant. e4 is hanging, so I have bishop h3, queen e4, queen takes e6, queen takes e6, bishop takes e6, king f8, perhaps bishop c8. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he can trade off this pawn with b6, and then I'm sort of running out of pawns here. I can also just take on b7. I mean, yeah. Like queen a1, king e2, queen takes a2 check, king f3. It's not the end of the world. I'm hitting the bishop, I'm hitting the c6 pawn. Also take on c5. No, he can't. That would be terrible, in fact. Yeah, let's give this a whirl. I feel like it might be significant that this c6 pawn and this bishop and even the a pawn are all loose at the same time here. So we'll do this. He can take on a2 check. We'll go king f3. I guess now that I think about it, this is also an awfully good square for my king. Now that bishop h3 is sort of in the air, this bishop can become active some other way. Even perhaps this is an idea in some cases. But now he's got these two things hanging, and maybe even queen c8 is strong at some point. So again, I just have to make sure that I have to not flag, as usual. And I have to be careful. He's got two outside pass pawns. The pawns he has for the piece are both on the outside. Okay, so that is a legal square for the bishop. Interesting choice. And I mean, there is the idea to just go bishop f1 here and not take on c6 and just try and lay waste to his king immediately with bishop c4. I mean, bishop c4 is a pretty strong threat. He is threatening to go bishop g1, though. This guy's crafty. Very crafty. Bishop g1. That is stupid. How is that possible? So if queen c6, bishop g1, how is that a thing? I don't necessarily know what to do about that either. You can just play knight g4, I guess. You can check me like infinite times, though, is the problem. Yeah, that's annoying. I'm going to take, he's going to go here. I still don't know what I'm doing about it. I guess knight g4, h5 is the issue. Okay, so he doesn't care about that. I'm going to go bishop f here. And if he goes bishop g1, I'll go bishop e2 for the time being. Until I figure out what the heck I'm doing. Yeah, so that is irritating. Now I can go king g2 and his bishop's trapped. Well, sort of. I'm going to throw in this check for funsies. Because I don't have any time. I'll go knight g4, again for funsies. I don't like this move. All right. I'm so low on time. It's so irritating. It's at every game. I can take this guy for free. And oh, I'm running out of checks. Also running out of time. We'll take check, then we'll probably take his bishop. I have to be careful because a queen trade would actually like lose the game for me, so the a3 pawn is something of an issue. I mean, this is with the pawn on a3, this is like perilously close to a draw anyway. God, terrible play by me. Terrible play in the technical phase. Again, yeah, I'm just gonna take the draw. I don't have any time. Oh, yeah, just a draw. Irritating. Ay, ay, ay. All right, well, let's take a look. Time trouble is just crushing my soul. So yeah, I don't have to go here. I can not play d4. For instance, b3 would be a very thematic English reply, and then bishop b2, d3, knight b to d2 would be the typical setup. Even in some cases, you can go bishop b2 and still go d4, but normally if people are playing b3 and bishop b2, they're going to go d3, knight d2, and so on. This is a perfectly legitimate way to play also. Yeah, and as I said, against bishop d6, which is sort of the more thematic kind of triangle place to put the bishop in Semi-Slav style, I really like d4, castles, knight fd2, kind of a crafty line. I think Balogan recommends this in his book on the Catalan, and yeah, like I wanted to see this. And also I think Averick put out an update to his first book. In his book, he forgot to cover the triangle, maybe, and he put out an update where he talked about this knight d2 move. So, yeah. Queen c2, I don't think this is the only move. I think knight c3 is possible. I remember looking at this with the bishop on e7 not that long ago. b3. The thing about going knight fd2 now is, for instance, like against normal moves, let's say just these moves, this is fine, but when the bishop is on d6, you gain a move because, you know, knight takes d6 is a threat. And then the bishop would have to go back, generally to e7 or f8, and then you've gained a move, and you can go bishop f4. And white's generally much more comfortable. So, but with the bishop on e7, black sort of preempts that a little bit. But in the case of other lines where, you know, white refrains from this knight fd2 plan, the bishop is less active on e7. The problem is that in a lot of these structures, black really wants to try and organize e5, and the bishop on e7 is not particularly great at doing that because not only does it block the e file, but of course it doesn't support e5 at all. So, yeah. Queen c2 is the most sort of natural Catalan-ish move, though, just protecting the c4 pawn, maybe preparing rook d1, or certainly just the normal e4 plan is also good. So, yeah, I'm not sure about h6. I don't necessarily see, like, this is not a threat. This is not an idea, really. h6 just kind of feels like a move that's wasted. And here, I think I somehow feel like knight b6 is an inaccuracy, but I don't know. It feels like a little bit more standard for black to play something like this, and then after queen e2, try and organize c5 or e5. That would be the normal way to play. White is still more comfortable here. These structures in general are very pleasant for white. He's got a space advantage, these pawns versus these pawns, and also this bishop is always a problem piece. In a lot of positions, black tries to play b6 and bishop b7 and c5, for instance. But in this particular position, it's not actually that easy, I don't think. b6 leaves this pawn kind of loose, and yeah, knight e5 is a pretty obvious reply. The problem is queen takes d4. This is a massive blowout because I'll just take, and the rook is hanging. So tricky. So yeah, knight b6, I don't know. And b3, I wasn't totally sure about at the time. I think it's also pretty legitimate to try something like e5. I thought knight e7, knight d7. I guess there is this trick that I can take, but maybe this is not so exciting for white because the knight is going to get this d5 square. I thought knight d7, and white has to be better here. I mean, he just has more space. Black's pieces are all pretty bad. Yeah, c5, that's kind of funny. So knight b6, b3, and of course I just want to go into, again, these structures. And in this case, I think this is even worse than previously because this knight is pretty misplaced on b6. Yeah, the Stockfish thinks black has to go knight d7 back to f6, so that would be a colossal waste of time. Taking on c4 is interesting, but I think it's sort of thematic that if you're going to take on c4, you need to really be able to strike out with e5 or c5 right away. Like c5 is maybe a little bit more natural to me. I was planning on going d5. But this has to be much better for white anyway. C takes, I thought, and it's just not. Yeah, this is just not what black wants. E5 is not really a threat yet, but black's position is kind of uncomfortable. The bishop will come to b2. This is an extremely strong diagonal. The rooks can come to the center. Maybe white can even consider playing a4, a5 to give the c4 square to his knight on d2. Yeah, this just would be extremely bad. And if e5, yeah, I guess I can't play knight takes because the queen takes d4. I mean, I can, for instance, just here, but maybe with these pawns shattered, it's not as good for white as it could be. Yeah, I mean, I felt like here already white's advantage might be decisive. Stockfish thinks otherwise, but to me, this feels extremely uncomfortable for black. I mean, yeah, b6, but I would almost assuredly play something like this and claim that I was better. Bishop a6, I'm going to take, and then play knight d6. Oh, no, I'm not. Look at the board. Board vision, Tony. Board vision. Yeah, so maybe this idea of exploiting this pin sort of saves the day for black. It still looks uncomfortable. Yeah, or even here. I can just move the rook first. And if here, I can maybe be satisfied with this instead. This also looks extremely good for white. What am I doing? That's not the game. Yeah, I mean, rook d8 is just a massive error, though, because the only square that black has against bishop f4 and takes c7 is d8, and he removes it, so he has to chuck a bunch of material here. I'm just honestly so embarrassed that I didn't win this game. Where does all my time go, guys? What happened? I don't drink much, but I'm really starting to want some, a couple fingers of whiskey here. What is happening? This just looks crushing. I don't understand. Up a piece and full tilt right now. So this is all pretty much forced. Let's go back and look at knight f takes e5, because that was the other move I was considering. Computers think this is much better. So if takes, I was just going to play bishop takes, and then queen d7. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously extremely pleasant for white as well. Maybe I should have went for this, but I was just very happy to win a piece. I mean, a piece is a piece. But white also is just up a clean pawn in this case with massive positional compensation as well. Like, black's pieces are just so bad. White's center is so massive. Yeah, maybe I should have went for this. That perhaps is kind of a bungle on my part, because that does look very good. But again, a piece is a piece. And so after all these forced moves, yeah, rook a b1 looks good. Rook a b8, and then I played knight e3. It is interesting that black managed to arrange this, and then I was... Knight cd5 I looked at, but I didn't understand what I was doing after bishop e6. I felt like maybe this was not the optimal square for my knight, actually. Like rook fd1. Takes. Yeah, I'm just not sure. Knight e3 felt a little bit more natural to me. I want to go put all the knights on f5. It's bizarre to me that black just decided to trade all the rooks. I guess maybe his plan is bishop c7, but I mean, when you're down all this stuff, why trade off the material? Yeah, and I went knight d4 here. Computer doesn't hate it. Doesn't hate my play at all, actually. Up to a point. I mean, again, black doesn't really have any threats after this, and black's king starts coming under fire. I just felt like this had to be winning somehow, but I ran into practical problems. Bishop f1 here, bishop g1. Bishop e2, presumably. And if black just sits tight with the queen, let's say. Just taking everything, huh? It goes like a5, queen c6, a4. I guess I'm just winning the race, huh? Yeah, this is kind of an embarrassing loss. Not a loss, but a draw. Just shameful. Definitely got to work on my time management. Yeah, I mean, this is just... This position has to be winning. I just had, like, absolutely literal 0 time here. So after king h7... I really wanted to orchestrate a bishop d3 check of some kind. I missed this. I looked at this idea at many different points, looking to go bishop d3, but I didn't see it, I think, at this specific moment. I was worried about... Like, I looked at bishop d3 and then e5, but of course bishop d3 right away is not humanly possible, so I sort of gave up on this idea, but e5 first. He can, of course, stop bishop d3, at least temporarily. Can I go here? No. Focus. I'm losing my mind. Yeah, knight g4, just, I want to move the bishop. I'm protecting the f2 square. And I thought maybe there's some stuff lurking here. And yeah, after this, I just had no time, and I saw that this would essentially like force a perpetual. I'm not saying I really played well here. It's just I saw that this was a draw, and so I took it because I had no time left. God, Tony, you're bad. Ugh, stretch out the sadness. Yeah, I mean, what else to say? Got to work on my time management. At what moves did I... At what moves did I lose a lot of time? So I thought for a minute I used 1/15 of my time on 7 queen c2. Over 60 seconds on b3. So these moves I could have played more or less, you know, instantly, but I was thinking about other stuff. c5 again, it was just, yeah, I kind of a critical moment, but I could have played that almost instantly. That move popped into my head really fast. D takes e5. Yeah, I thought a long time whether to win the piece or not. But like thinking like over 60 seconds for rook a to b1 and knight e3, I think is pretty bad. And then, yeah, it just needs some work. Yeah, not the greatest game I've ever played, but a draw is never all that terrible either. All right, well, I hope you guys are having a good Valentine's Day. I've said that in all of the recordings so far. I hope you guys are having a good Sunday, and have a great Monday. I actually get to work from home tomorrow, so that'll be nice. Get to work in my underwear and not have to worry about people walking in my cube and harassing me all the time. That'll be great. Yeah, let me know if you want to see a different time control, if you want, you know, if you have any ideas about specific educational material. I'm going to work on some tactic stuff, I think, soon. I have some ideas for some endgames I want to study that I think are educational and worth studying, too. Things I want to brush up on. So those will pop up pretty much relatively soon. I'll see how many of these classical videos I can get up. But yeah, hope you guys had a good weekend. Make it a great Monday, and I will see all of you dudes and dudettes soon for more videos.